beach car.
What is up, y'all? You remember last time we had a little issue with this Mustang? Actually, I took it out on lockdown and it ended up getting hot, and because of that I had to stop it, and there was no towing where we were at, so we had to leave it there. Actually, I didn't want to leave it there, so I had to drive it back home, and because of that it blew up the engine. Okay, so that's why it's been sitting. That's why it's been a while since we've been working on it. So this is the result, and this is the way the car looks like now. So she's still in a rough situation, and I'll show you under the hood. So when I had this thing out, the engine overheated, and I didn't find out where the water was coming from until it was too late. It was actually coming from here, the neck going to the radiator here, and it had a tiny hole. The hole was so small I couldn't see where the water was coming from, so it ended up blowing up the engine because it overheated. Now when I heard a really loud knock, that's when I had to stop the motor before it completely locked up. So when I shut this motor down, the motor did not lock up. So unfortunately I can't start it for you guys so y'all could hear how loud it is, but the knock is coming from, I believe, this side. So I think I broke a piston or broke rings or both. So what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to take this thing apart. I'm gonna have to drop the bearings from the bottom of the engine to check those to make sure they're not destroyed. But I do have a set of new bearings for this car, just in case. And also, it's also the situation with the engine. I have to go take off the head gasket, I have to take off this intake, all of these parts here, and get down to the block. If I do have a, well, I'm definitely gonna have to take the piston out. So if that's the case, I can always drop the parts from the bottom of the engine and take the piston off and all the parts from the top of the motor, and then I can fix it like that. If the bearing or the crank is destroyed, I will have to pull this engine out. Hopefully I can just repair it, but while I'm repairing it, I'm going to do some upgrades so I can set this thing up for boost, maybe turbos, maybe superchargers. All right, and I'll let you see what the interior looks like. So interior's in pretty decent shape, you can see. It's a nice ride too, and I did some work with the suspension before, and we changed all the brakes and the suspension going in there. I don't know if you can see that. It's been replaced. It's all been replaced underneath. Inner and outer tie rod ends have been replaced. I got pictures of that, but I don't have video of it because it was before I posted everything on YouTube. So other than that, she's next in line. I'm gonna get to start working on this so I can take it out, because it's a shame I'm going on those road trips and I'm not going in something nicer than what I have now, something sexier than what I have now. Alright, so when I first got this Mustang, it had a lot of suspension issues and other issues, so I took everything apart and decided to order a front end kit, as you can see here. The front end needed brakes, inner outer tie rod ends, and lower ball joints. So I ordered the whole kit and put it together piece by piece. I didn't quite get a video of this because I wasn't doing YouTube at that time. So I decided to take pictures, and then we're going to go step by step in the process of what I did to this car. And in this picture, the car or the whole front end was completely disassembled before I began, and you're going to need a host of tools to do this. Wrenches, sockets, 2 different kinds of pickle forks. You're going to need a puller, an installer, and a whole bunch of hand tools to complete this job. On this picture you can see I did the lower ball joints, and it wasn't very easy because everything was rusted together. As you can see, the suspension is pretty rusty. So I decided to take my time, and I used a what they call a pickle fork, and you use a big hammer, and I hammered the space between the knuckle and the upper part of the tie rod end, and then I got this thing together pretty easily. And for the lower ball joint, it wasn't that easy. As you can see from the bottom, it's a press in unit, not a screw in unit, so you have to press it in either with a hydraulic press or one of those portable units that are screw in type, and I got the screw in type by OTC Tool Company, and with a lot of effort and a lot of struggling, I got this crap together. So finally it looks like this. This is the final picture. And on the ground you can see the manual operated puller and installer. For the lower ball joints, you can see it in the box to the left, and all the hand tools that are necessary, and also the box of the entire kit, because I ordered the whole suspension kit in one unit. And I ordered the parts from Moog. I will only order the parts from Moog, no other manufacturer, because everything else is not good enough. Moog is an American made company, American made parts, and the parts are very high quality, better than stock and better than the crap that comes from China. This is an example of the outer tie rod end of the Moog suspension kit, and as you can see, it's very high quality. The materials that are made in this product are very good, made in the USA, and the car should last a very long time, probably longer than I'll ever have the car. This is the inner tie rod end. It's a long rod unit that you have to install with a special tool, or you can use a pipe wrench. I use a special tool which is like a tube, and it's made by Snap-on, and that's what I use to install this piece. You get one on each side, and it controls the steering from your rack and pinion to give you steering both left and right. If this part is loose, as you're going down the road, you're going to feel the wheels are going all over the place, and no matter how many times you align your car, it's still not going to fix it. So in order to fix your suspension properly, you have to replace the inner tie rod ends as well as the outer tie rod ends. Don't forget that. This is the outer tie rod, or I'm sorry, got that wrong. Oops. This is the inner tie rod ends as I disassembled them from the outer tie rod ends, and this is before I started to take away that boot that's on the inside and install the inner tie rod ends before I began to install the other side. This is another shot of the lower ball joint that I did, and after installation it looks pretty good. I use a lot of penetrating fluid, as you can see, and that's why it's kind of wet and greasy right there, because of the penetrating fluid. But after all my hard work and banging and clanging and all that crap, it finally came off. You need a complete set of tools, small hammers. You can see there's two kinds of pickle forks down there at the bottom. There's a inner tie rod end installer. You're gonna need to use a jack. You always should have a jack and a jack stand, a pair of them, so you don't get the car doesn't fall on your body while you're working on it. Okay, so you need all the hand tools that you will need. You'll see on the ground here. It's pretty complete. Sockets, deep sockets, and don't forget the coffee down there that you're looking at. You should always have coffee every day. All right, it's good for your body, plus it keeps you sharp. So suspension is complete, everything is installed. Outer tie rod ends, lower ball joints, and inner tie rod ends. Also brand new boots for the rack and pinion steering system. And I also installed brand new brakes in the front. And in the future, I'm going to be installing front wheel, or actually four-wheel disc brakes on this car. And you're going to see that as a future project. Stay tuned for that, and y'all need is a like and subscribe so you can get notifications of upcoming projects, what we're doing, and hopefully we'll get started on this thing real soon. It doesn't take much money to do this. I already got the parts. So the problem is it going to cost me a piston, or is it going to cost me rings, or both, or connecting rod? I'm not sure yet, so we're going to figure that out and determine what I need to do. So y'all stay put and stay tuned for that. All right, see you on the next issue.